I can make titles now. Ah, welcome back, viewers, to another episode of Let's Play Sacred for the personal computer. With me, Bezlonir, your host, and there's sort of a Lord of the Rings-esque pair of dwarves positioned before this. I wanted to say that dwarfs with like a German accent, but I'm not too familiar with doing a German accent. It's because to be the this as I learned on Wikipedia, this game was made by a German gaming company, and you know what? It's funny because they around the time that they finished up Sacred 2, and I'm not sure whether they like totally finished it or what. Um, or whether they had to just kind of like put it out. You know how that goes. Uh, but around that time, I think that's when they went out of business, and sort of reminds me of So this should be, and there's a cave here. I thought we. What is that? What am I doing? There's a dungeon here, so we'll go in through there. It reminds me of a little bit of like. I'm just gonna zoom in, cause what? I can't move here because my unicorn's in the way. All right. Well, I'll just let him kill that guy or get out of the way or something. Yeah. Sometimes these can be problems with having minions. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of Might and Magic 9 in that way. Is like, what I mean by that is like right around the time that a company that has probably been waiting a little bit too long to update the technology in their games and stuff, and right around the time that they finally decide to catch up with the tech, they go out of business, and you wind up with a game that's sort of the next step in the series, and it has a lot of interesting ideas, and it isn't necessarily all that polished, but I find Sacred 2 to be really, I think I've played about 4 hours of Sacred 2, but it's really, I like the areas, and it doesn't feel like there's as much, just empty space as there is in this game. Like, I like this game, but there's a lot of empty, redundant space. Like I get the feeling sometimes like the game world could really have been shrunk down, just condensed, and it wouldn't really hurt anything. So I don't know if I needed to do anything in this dungeon. I saw that I had a quest that led me over in this direction, but I don't know if it was meant to do anything with this. So yeah, Sacred 2, Might and Magic 9 is kind of like that. Nuquium Astralis. Well, this would be one rare time that I may look at my quest log. I didn't know. Oh, those are probably from like down there. I was just wondering why that made a farty sound. Kill all the evil spirits in the villa at Porta Draco. Well, I didn't even see a tracker for that objective. Maybe you're supposed to go in here? Remember, I think we went here in the last episode. There's like GG pathfinding, then get my fucking minions out of the way so I can click on this. Come on, man. This is fucking ridiculous. Sometimes. Okay, so maybe it has to do with this. And this is where you're supposed to clear the evil spirits. Even though I still don't see a fucking tracker for it. There certainly are a lot of these guys here.
Stay where you are.
I know we already did this, but we didn't have the quest at the time, so go figure. Well, we opened up all the doors, so this time they're sort of coming at us. Come at me, bro! Come at me, bro! These guys are giving us a pretty decent amount of experience, I guess, 600 a pop. It's a decent little influx of XP. I guess I'll just pick up some loot while my guy hits this dude for 27 damage a hit. Good luck with that, man. I imagine you'll be dying in the near future. Did I mention, because I was going on this thing, not that I necessarily have a point in this, but the other game that I was thinking of was Wizardry 9. Boy, I feel like I just pronounced that horribly. Sometimes I just, with the consonants, they just don't happen. I already checked all these graves. And that thing was a thing, so I would imagine that the graves remain checked pretty much. Since I don't see a quest tracker, I'm a little concerned that this won't really, I don't know, group eliminated, but, oh, here we go. So what happens now? Told me. Okay, so now we have to go catch a murderer or something. I guess. Let me see. I didn't really think too hard about. Okay. Trying to figure out the relative time according to my clock around which I will want to try to conclude this video. So her guy okay. Gotta go back down to this town proper. So these are games that sort of where a company that was a bit behind the times on the tech probably released a few too many somewhat disposable games that, in all honesty, were kind of
Village
more
people
like
have respect for
expansions.
nature. Good people, worthy of my protection.
Finally tried to get where they needed to get with things, but so now we have to fight these guys. Well, just like a glass of chocolate milk, they went down easy. So is that it for the quest then? Okay, are you telling me I have to go back up here? I gotta go back into the thing, or what? Gosh. I don't like being run around on quests, especially not when I'm trying to... Okay. Now I gotta go back and talk to her. Really? Couldn't you just make it automatic? I don't like spending this much time on one quest. Yeah, but I think, you know, they probably released a few too many games that were basically the same game, repackaged, reskinned. New World computing with Might and Magic games were pretty guilty in that regard. I think their games were kind of fun romps, but I mean, they were pretty much, they didn't bring much new to the equation, right? Now, your old Wizardry games were just, I mean, I bought, I went to eBay, whatever, and I bought Wizardry Gold on eBay. Well, it's pretty cool. I actually got it for a good price and everything, and God, I think it came with the manual and everything, which is like really awesome. And I really wanted to play the game, and I wanted to like it, because I had it back in the day, and I played it a bit, so I thought it'd be cool to finish it, but it just became one of those experiences. If I'd have played it back in the day, I probably could have enjoyed it, but it becomes, you can't deal with those mechanics
and now
anymore.
you who are known as the leader of a pack of rabid mongrels, I'm
Like-
going to lay you low.
The problem was really, my problem that I had with Wizardry 7 was just the resting mechanics, which were, I mean, if you think about it, kind of behind the times, relatively similar to, God, I doubt that many people who are listening to this actually saw my LP for Pool of Radiance, but it's, then again, if you play computer role-playing games, it's not that unlikely that you ever played Pool of Radiance at some point yourself, so you can perhaps use that as a point of reference. So it's not too unlike, you know, Pool of Radiance in that regard, that, you know, getting back your health and mana is a little bit complicated. And, you know, Pool of Radiance, I think, was made around, I think that came out around 1990. So if you think about that, the Nintendo Entertainment System had already been out for years by that point, 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, we're in the console entertainment era at that point. That changes people's expectations for gaming, whether you like it or not. It does. So, by the time that those Pool of Radiance came out, those resting mechanics were already pretty out of date in 1991. You know, granted, the game was somewhat groundbreaking. We hadn't seen a lot of D&D role-playing games on, you know, computer systems. Most of the previous games were really, they were probably for like Atari, and they just consisted of a blip running around in a maze. So it was an upgrade in that sense, but by and large, it wasn't. Let's see if our inventory. Okay, we're doing alright with our inventory, so I guess we'll just head up towards this next town. I'm just gonna keep going from objective to objective till we hit our next main quest point, and then I think I might do an exploration video after that. But I think it proves that the resting mechanics were already out of date with Pool of Radiance, in that I believe by the next game, which, if I recall, was The Secret of the Silver Blades. Well, no, maybe it was, I think it was the Curse of the Azure Bonds. I don't know those games apart from each other that well, because I never played them really much myself. But I think by the next game, they had already changed those mechanics to be much simpler. It was all automated. And even that, I would say, was a little out of date. So, fast forward to, and this is my point, this is why I'm going over all this really rather dull commentary. Fast forward to when Wizardry 7 came out, which I think was, if I want to say, like 95 or so. And so by 1995, mechanics like
I'll
that
take
are
on your
just
job.
horribly out of date. I don't, I wish I had a little bit better reference for like what other role-playing games were sort of around at that time, but I mean, this is like almost
Be brave.
to the PlayStation era, so you're gonna have stuff
You
like
have taken your time to come and fight, but your delaying has only made things worse. Now, die!
relatively concurrent with that, you're gonna have things like, I mean, King's Field or something like that. Okay, so we got another guy going with us for some purpose. I guess we're just sort of collecting quests around here. But you know, this all goes back to, I mean, I got Wizardry Gold and I was excited to get it, and I'm still excited to have it. I'm glad that I have it, and I wish I could play it. There's nothing technically keeping me from playing it. My computer will run it, but it's just hard to drag myself through. There's nothing wrong with the dungeons, and the character development system is very interesting, but I think you have to, like, I mean, the way it works, there's sort of a artificial difficulty built into the game, and you run out of health and mana and all of that sort of thing rather quickly, and then you wind up sitting there having to rest over and over and over again to get your all your resources back, you know, which is a shame because it is a really interesting game. Then you have Wizardry 8, which I think now
What's up?
again, yes. Thank you for the Budweiser reference. I'm not even sure if that was intentional. So yeah, Wizardry 8 is that game that came out right around the time that I think Surtech went out of business, and it's pretty cool. I've dabbled in it. I played it a little bit myself, but as it goes, I haven't purchased it. So, you know, you can connect the dots on that. Now, if I ever did actually buy it, and I can't recall if it's I think it might be on Good Old Games, and if it is, then I probably will buy it fairly soon. My interest level in it, I'm not like a die-hard Wizardry fan, so I'm not going to pay $120 for a copy on like eBay or Amazon or something, but I could see dropping even perhaps $15, because it does seem like a cool game with a decent amount of replayability. Oh man, I pronounced the fuck out of that T, didn't I? I just experienced one of those enervating moments where you're just like, God, I'm being so fucking boring. I'm being so fucking boring. I'm like, man, I've been going on about
Right away.
these old ass games for like 15 fucking minutes now. Jesus Christ. What am I doing? I don't know. I can't stop myself. Ay, ay, ay. Jeez. God. But yeah, I think it is on Good Old Games. I don't think I'm the only one who felt like I was just waiting forever for the Wizardry games to find their way on to Good Old Games. And the way these things go is you just find yourself forced to wait on somebody in an office somewhere to get off their fucking hands, stop sitting on their hands, and actually just decide to use the IP. You know. And that's one reason why I really don't generally feel too bad about, oh, apparently we have a quest to kill these brigands for gold bars. That's why I generally don't feel too bad sometimes about pirating, like, super old games. Because, I mean, if these people who own the rights want to actually use them and, you know, make an effort to sell me this fucking game, then I will go, like, spend the money on the game. But if if they just want to, like, hoard IPs and just have it just to have it, it's like a little kid with, like, all these toys, and he's just like, I just want to have all these toys, and he's like, they're like Cartman, they're like, I get that many games, I can't have them. Okay, God, that was not a Cartman impression. I don't even know what that was, but, oh man. So, let me think, man, like, Wizardry 8, it seems like a really cool game. I haven't played it, all that much myself. I think Nezral Z did, playthrough that was pretty cool. I don't think, no, he didn't do commentary on it, but it was still fun to watch. And you could hear all the dialogue. It's an interesting game to watch playthrough of. I think it's actually a more interesting game to actually play. The only problem is that it is fairly difficult, so you're gonna have some stumbling blocks when you play through, and you may... It's one of those games where it's definitely plausible that the first time you play through it, you may fail. You may come to a point where you haven't developed your party well enough, or something like that happens, and you have to re-roll or make better decisions. But, I mean, that said, I think that the combat is pretty satisfying. So, actually, that is a game that I could see now that I have a better recording setup.
My bow is yours to command.
That's so nice. Now that I have a better recording setup, I could see doing an LP of it. I'm not going to overcommit myself at this point. I think I'm just going to stick to this LP. Eventually, I'm going to try to... Oh, jeez. The burpees. I had a burp. A coffee burp. I've been drinking some coffee. These things happen. So, I'm gonna try to get the, slam the door in my face, will ya? I'm gonna try to get the, Heroes of Might and Magic 2 videos off of my other computer sometime, and get those up, and then I'm probably not going to resume any of my other old LPs because they're all files on my old computer. So, the thing about that computer, really, I mean, it still runs, but I got a new computer for a reason. It doesn't run that well, I would say, where it pretty much stood by the time I got my new computer. I might try to start it up 3 times, and out of those 3 times, maybe 1 time it wouldn't start up. It was pretty unreliable. It wouldn't start up every time. And there was a lot of things that didn't work on it. This computer actually gave me some trouble for a little while, but it seems to have gotten better. I think it probably didn't help that I was, like, running it 24/7, so I started trying to be a little bit better about, like, turning it off when I wasn't using it and stuff. I don't know. Maybe these things are, like, obvious to some people, and they're just, like, they're doing face palms right now, like, God, what a fucking idiot this guy is, right? But I don't know. Why am I running around town collecting all the treasure chests? Like, that makes for some riveting entertainment, doesn't it? Oh, if you go up to these like rune stones and stuff, they'll tell you things. Stop or live with the changes you have made. That feels like either a bad translation or just that means nothing to me. I don't even know. I really, you know, I could do without doors opening and closing at random. I don't know, like, I feel like this is gamers' fault. Because you assholes told fucking, like, gaming companies that you actually gave a shit that, like, NPCs walk around and like, act like they're, like, real people and shit, and they have things to do. And I feel like some of the most bullshit gaming bullshit came out of that kind of thing. Sometimes, you know, people just ask for shit that, I mean, seems like a good idea, and that's like classic example why sometimes game developers just shouldn't listen to the customer, because when they actually spend their valuable time programming these things, it's just like, really, it's just bullshit. You know, like, we can only imagine the time it takes to put in the code to make, like, these NPCs wander around like they, you know, have some kind of life or whatever. Okay, so now we have to fight a bunch of guys. That happened. Well, guys, good move. You guys died pretty quick. Man, I did prattle on about a lot of subjects in this video, but I didn't really conclude anything, and I didn't read any of these quests. We did a bunch of quests, and I don't think I read the text for, like, anything. What? I'm getting, like, battle music, but I don't, as far as I know, I don't have any enemies around. Is this guy? He's like a Riddler or something down here. What are you? You look special, but you're probably not. What? I didn't click on anything. Oh, he's got like a drink. I thought it was a microphone, or he's got a funnel he's putting to his ear. But he looks like a ninja or something. Well, it's hard to tell. It's an isometric view, so I can't, you know, turn the camera around and get a different view of him. So I guess we can continue walking around here. Anyway, yeah, like, anyway, yeah, as if, oh, cool, so we got a little portal that kind of connects us back to where we were at. Wow, did we skip a bunch of places or something? I have no idea. We'll find out. I'll try to explore, you know, things. I don't even know. And, yeah, Wizardry 9 was a pretty good game. It just may have still been a bit behind the times, and, by the time it was released, I think, oh man,
I'll get started on your assignment right away.
I want to say it was released in 2004, and even by then, even if it had been pretty successful, I think Surtech probably would have gone out of business. A lot of times, by the time these companies release that game, that they finally, like, acknowledge that they have to make a more high-tech game, they usually, like, go out of business before the game is even released. So I don't even know if it was successful, if it would have saved their business. But I mean, if you think about 2004, I think really the whole market was moving in a different direction. Like, PC games, I wish that they were more successful still, and that there were still more PC games to play. But yeah, there are some, like you've got Path of Exile and what have you, and so I really can't say much, because, like, I haven't even hardly played Path of Exile. Torchlight 2, I played Torchlight a little bit, But you know, I mean, I guess if I'm the audience for these things.